taking or not taking IMF loan and World Bank loan has always been there. And it was there even in those days when the military government was under pressure to fulfill IMF and World Bank conditionalities, one of which was that tuition fees should be introduced or fees should be increased in all institutions of higher learning. The Buhari government took over from the civilian government of that of Shehu Shagari, which had become very popular on account of so many things, corruption and the rest of them. I must quickly say that the corruption there, you can't even compare with what we're experiencing now. In those days, students would troop out to even protest the idea of the political party chairman like Adisak Loye having branded champagne. Those are the kind of things that was happening. So there was a lot of expectation, and indeed, that regime was met with enthusiasm by students, in the sense that students spontaneously went out and were jubilating, and all we were trying to do was to just caution them to say that, look, let's see what will happen. And as soon as the government took over, we tabled the demands of Nigerian students. We didn't waste time. As a matter of fact, that coup, the Buhari coup, met me and other NANS leaders in Lagos. We were in Lagos to address a press conference, but the tradition then, and I think the younger generation should also learn from this, was that the government used to present the next year's budget in December. So before the end of the year, before December 31st, they will have presented the budget, which newspapers used to run. They will run the entire content of the budget. So it was easy for us to have copies of the budget. And our tradition that time was to study the budget, look at allocation to education, to budget, to defense, to health, and make a case and critique the budget. So we're in Lagos to actually critique Shagari's budget, only for us to learn that a coup had taken place. And instantly, we wrote out statement saying that our support for that government will be conditional. It will be predicated on the government running free education at all levels, free healthcare, and other demands of Nigerian students. However, within a few months of coming to power, the government started introducing all sorts of fees, not just at the universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education, or institutions of other institutions of higher learning, schools of basic studies who were part of NANS, but even at secondary school and primary school levels, different military governments and protests. So parents were already complaining, why would you be imposing fees on us and so on. By the time we had our first Senate meeting in February, that's after I had been elected at the University of Benin, the question of introduction of fees had become nationwide. And then the government itself, because NANS had said introduce free education, the government now came out and said free education was not possible because they didn't have the money, and that it would cost, at that time, according to the government, it would cost them about 4 billion naira or so to implement free education at all levels. So one strategy we adopted that time was to factually, or if you like, intellectually counter that position by the government. We tasked ourselves with the responsibility of proving that that money can be gotten by that military government. And then, the NANS leadership, particularly with the support of, activists, comrades, they went out and moved into the library. What were they doing? We're now doing research. We're looking at facts and figures. How much were members of House of Assembly earning as salaries that time? How much were the senators earning, these House of Reps members? How much was Shagari himself earning as president, all the ministers and commissioners? And we computed the figures and said, look, you had just overthrown a civilian government. These people were taking this money from the nation's coffers every month and then every year. So by staking that coup, all those monies that will have gone as salaries and allowances for that large number of public officials were being automatically saved. And with